Thanks for coming, everyone. And I won't mess around. I'll just come on, Santos. Thank you very much. Big round of applause.
Leicester. Great. And a great turnout, so welcome. Now, what I did want to talk about was astrotheology, but I'm going to struggle with the small whiteboard, but don't despair, because I have a beautiful PowerPoint presentation which I will do instead, equally as beautiful. And it's going to be dealing with the holy days. So what we're going to do is we're going to go along the ecliptic, starting at March the 21st, where everything begins, right ascension of meridian for the astronomers. In astrology, everything begins with Aries. So we're going to start right there where we're supposed to start on the ecliptic and follow it along and see how many holidays are along that ecliptic and how the ecliptic gives meaning to those very holidays. What's the ecliptic? The ecliptic is the path of the sun. The sun is always on the ecliptic. And the ecliptic begins on March the 21st, where the equinox occurs. The equinox is a very, very special day. What occurs on that particular day is that the sun divides the day. Between 12 hours of darkness and 12 hours of night, right down the middle. And these days, with all the quartz technology that we have for telling time, astronomers and scientists will tell you the very, very split second when this occurs. Now, if you were going to calculate that just by watching the sun on the ecliptic every year, you could a handful of people could do it just by, they could hone in on the equinox by the day, easily. But by the hour, to tell in which hour that will happen, this is what they used to know, to the hour and to the minute. These days we can go to the second. In fact, what's the equivalent in time for angstroms? What's the sub-second timing, they call it this? Yes. Right, they can, to a billionth of a second, they can tell you when the sun is on the ecliptic, and it's right at 0 point on March the 21st every year. So this is the beginning point. This is where we're going to commence our story of the holy days. And I believe we've got our thing ready to go, coming up. So what we're going to do is we're going to visit a map of the world. Usually when you look at a map of the world, you'll see the equator dividing the two hemispheres. That's the 0 point, the equator. All spheres have equators. You see, and as the Earth rotates and orbits, I won't say that it orbits around the sun because it doesn't. The Copernican theory is, that's wrong. We're in a vortex solar system. But anyway, as the Earth orbits and rotates, it produces two cycles that we are very familiar with, the day and the year. Day comes from the word God. Deus in Latin. So the sun is the producer, gives us the cycle of the day, and as he was called in ancient times, he was known as the god of day. Therefore day, Deus. And the other cycle is the year. And that also comes from the name of the sun. Yes. Affirmative, positive. This is why we say yes in English, because IHS in Greek is actually IES, yes. Yes, yeah, year. It's always going back to the sun. Month, that's the moon. So the god of day, Dis, gives us the day, and the same god, the sun, gives us the year. Yes. And the sun rises and sets, and that's affirmative. Yes. So when with this interaction that is going on with our Earth and our primary, we have a yearly cycle of hot and cold, summer and winter. And the daily cycle is, of course, day and night, and they mimic each other, you see. This is an old map. There's the sine wave. That's the wave. Now, we're going to follow that ecliptic. Now, over to the left, where the sine wave begins, this is where we're going to begin, March the 21st. That's that 0 point day. Then, as the sine wave reaches up to the Tropic of Cancer, this is the longest day of the year, June the 21st. And then, as you see, the sine wave crosses the equator again. We come to the autumnal equinox, and that's September 21st. Let's just copy that. There's the equator. There's the Tropic of Cancer. That one's curved up there. You can see it's curved to follow the latitudinal lines. And here's the Tropic of Capricorn. We all did this at school. Remember this? Yeah. In geography. And so let's reduce that sine wave. Start at March the 21st over here. June 21st. September 21st. December 21st. And back to March the 21st. Now you can do this like this also. And you can also do it starting from here. If you wanted to, you go start with March over here and go around that way and finish there. Or start here and go around here. Either way. This is why a lot of people get confused with this graph, because in many charts of the zodiac wheel, they will start with Aries and go down this way. Or they'll start over here and go that way. It doesn't matter, it's just a graph. But if we start with Aries here, what we have is we've got 0 point day where there's perfect equilibrium. And we're going to take that to be the starting point. Now, many times in theology, they will start here in Capricorn at the solstice, the shortest day of the year. So what we've got here, see this axis here is longest day, shortest day, 2 equal days. It's very important to understand this cross. Walter Russell said, the secret of creation is in the wave. And the most common religious symbol that we have is describing the wave. It describes where it is equal and balanced, the tree of life, and where it is unbalanced, longest day, shortest day, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There's always 2 trees, and it's the cross. The cross that is in the sine wave. The sine wave which explains everything about creation, because it explains how light reproduces itself. It doesn't travel, as scientists tell us that it travels at 186,000 miles a second or whatever. It just reproduces itself. And this is how it does it. It does it in this pattern. It starts from Aries and it goes through 4 elements, 3 modalities, cardinal, fixed, mutable. And as it goes around, it completes everything it does. Light vibrates. This is explaining the vibration. Half of the vibration is here, wave amplitude, half is over here. This is positive, this is negative. This is masculine, this is feminine. This is hot, this is cold, summer, winter. All of your dualities are here. And this explains how the universe electrically produces every visual effect that you see. Everything. There's only one force in the universe. Electricity. Powered by magnetism. The one power of the universe. And magnetism is unity, electricity is duality, positive and negative. The yin and yang is here, the swastika, all of them, because the secret of the universe and creation is in the wave. So what we're going to do to uncover all of our theologies and the most ancient, we're going to go along the ecliptic and see all the ancient celebrations like Christmas, Easter, Groundhog's Day, Halloween, Valentine's, the day of first fruits, Judgment Day, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, Ramadan. And we'll see how all of these festivals harmonise with the ecliptic and the seasons that they're in. So, without further ado, this is the basis of the science. And this is the basis for all of the festivities around the globe. Here it is simply. There it is, very, very simple. Again, Aries at the equator. 0 degrees Aries is 0 degrees right ascension. Now, for all you astronomers, you know what right ascension is. Right ascension is all those longitudinal lines, you see, that go north-south. And declination is your latitude. So, astronomers, what they do is they take this point here, 0 degrees Aries, to be 0 degrees right ascension of meridian. That's the meridian along here. So by the time the sun's travelled 2 hours, it will have done 30 degrees, at 15 degrees every hour. And it will have done 2 hours of right ascension. So if an astronomer gives you the coordinates for a star at 2 hours right ascension, you know where it is. It's right at the end of Aries and the start of Taurus, here. Because these are all 2 hour segments. So by the time the sun gets to 0 degrees Cancer, it's 6 hours right ascension. It's interesting that the sun can only right ascend because it describes the plane of the sun. It can never declinate. The sun can never be below the ecliptic like the other planets. You see, because they are on different planes to the sun. He is always on the ecliptic. Whereas Mars could be, 3 or 4 degrees south declination or plus declination north of the ecliptic. So we see that the sun rules that brazen serpent of Moses. That's what it is. It's the brazen serpent of Moses, or the staff of Caduceus. The staff of Apollo, the Caduceus of Mercury. And so, primarily, all those festivals that we're going to find go back to the sun, the ruler of the solar system. So you see, a planet, the sun will always be right ascending. That's why he's called Ra. He can never declinate. Whereas Saturn can be 6 hours right ascension minus 2.5 declination. Okay? So that's astronomer talk here now, which harmonises perfectly with astrology, astrotheology, alchemy, biochemistry, etc., because they're all one. And that's what syncretism is teaching. Before we proceed, there's another thing we need to add to these two cycles of the day, days, and the year, yes, which both are controlled by the sun and names of the sun. There is Adam Kadmon. We need to place Adam Kadmon in here. It's very important that we do this because then you will see how the festivities also harmonise with the organs in your body. For instance, just one example. Aries is at the top. This is Aries here. So obviously we put the head of Adam Kadmon here in Aries and Taurus, 60 degrees. Okay? Aries rules the cerebrum. This is just one example of the magic that we'll find when we go through all the festivities of the year. Cerebrum, is the goddess of cereals. You see? Cereal. Hope I spelt that right. Anyway, in ancient times, on April 15th, they would have a celebration called Cerealia. You see, because it harks back to the body. Man is the measure of the universe. Of course, in April 15, in Aries, there will be a celebration on this planet called Cerealia, because the sun is transiting Aries, and there is the cerebrum. And as you'll find, if I get to the theology part of this, cerebrum is Sarah Abram in the Holy Land, the father and mother of Israel. And Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, are the signs of the zodiac. So that's just one of the choice bits of magic that we'll find as we go along the ecliptic. Hence the need to understand that Adam Kadmon derives from this. Here is the ascendant in astrology. Here is the descendant. You see, as we said before, not only does this depict the yearly circuit of the sun, and here is spring, here is summer, winter, and autumn and winter, but it's also depicting the day. This is the morning at 6 a.m, midday, 6 p.m, sunset, midnight. And Adam Kadmon comes from this. A-D-M, the letters of Adam. That's the meridian. This is called the meridian. Ascendant, descendant. And that is who we are. As above, so below. Man is the cosm, the microcosm, and man, by the way, derives from the hand. Manipulate, manacles, maneuver, manage, manifest, because that's what we do. We do all those things with our hands, you see. So we are the race of mankind. The hand sets us apart. So as you put the body along the ecliptic, what we're going to do, as I said, here's the cerebrum, and we find Cerealia is celebrated here. And then we come along here and we find other celebrations dealing with Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, etc., etc. Okay? So, but very important to understand how the human body is along that ecliptic. And so, for instance, Gemini the twins, that's Gemini the twins, the two hands. So you've got Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo the lion heart, Virgo the belly, stomach, Libra the kidneys, the two scales are the kidneys, Scorpio is the generative system, Sagittarius the hips, hippo, Capricorn the knees, Aquarius the shins, Pisces the feet. And that's Adam Kadmon. And there's the journey. We begin like that as an embryo. Feet touching the back of the head. And in an elliptic form. See that elliptic form? This comes from the zodiac. Hence why they teach in astrology this placement, exactly as I've put here on the board. As you can see there, Aries at the 9 o'clock position, if we're going with a 12-hour clock. But of course, if we go by a 24-hour clock, so this really represents a 24-hour clock, so here would be 6 o'clock, remember? But anyway, when you look up there, this is Aries. You'll notice there that it corresponds with the cerebrum. To the back of the neck is the cerebellum, and that corresponds with the second sign. Gemini, the two twins, the two lungs. Cancer, the chest, the water, cardinal water, the chest, and the mother's milk. Leo, the fifth sign, you can see that there, the yellow, that's the heart. Virgo, intestines. Then you've got green below the Libra, below the horizon there. That's the kidneys, and it all harmonises. You can also see in there, you can see the platonic solids. Now I wish I could point up to that, but it's a bit too high, isn't it? But in Aries, you'll see that little red triangle there. That's the tetrahedron, because Aries is a fire sign. And these are the polyhedra. And so you'll see in Taurus, you'll see the brown cube, that's the hexahedron. Then in Gemini, the third sign, you'll see the green octahedron. That's air. Then you'll see the blue icosahedron in Cancer. Are you following me there? Yeah. That's the sacred geometry of all of this, this zodiac ecliptic. Let's proceed. Here we see again Adam Kadmon inside the circle with his 12 cell salts. And we have 12 systems in the body. Each sign rules a system. For instance, Capricorn rules the knees and the skeletal system. That's the most solid system. That's the structure. And hence, Capricorn is an earth sign. Earth is all things solid. Water is all things liquid. Air is all things gas. And fire is all things radiant in the universe. And they are the 4 rivers in the Garden of Eden. So we, as mankind, we have this beautiful constitution, 4 elements. There are creatures that only have one, like your elementals, your sylphs, fire, your gnomes, earth. They can only participate in one world. We live in 4 worlds. That's why we live in the Garden of Eden with the 4 rivers. And we are special for that reason, that we are mixed with all of these 4 worlds, solid, liquid, gas and radiance. Adam Kadmon is truly a work of creation. And so we're going to go now along the ecliptic. There's, by the way, the tarot cards that harmonise, the 22 cards of the tarot that harmonise with the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 7 planets, and Earth, Neptune and Uranus, 22 in all. And that is the perfect correspondence between the cards and the zodiac, giving more evidence to syncretism. And there's the light constitution of the body, the 7 colours of the rainbow, the 7 tones of the diatonic music scale, the 7 days of the week, the 7 visible planets. This is our octave. This is the octave in which we live. Okay, let us proceed with the festivities of the year, shall we?